You're in the heart of Xiyang. Good old Xiyang for your second game of WE and OMG, which was a banger of a start. If you've ever been to Bunnings and you've gotten yourself a good old sausage sizzle, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. These are our picks for the second game, Clement. Are you ready? So we had Yor in game one, right? WE on red side. They've brought in Beishang as their sub for game two. There is a Vayne there and an Aatrox, so let's get started. Where the hell is everything going?
Well,
Aatrox
OMG
jungle.
once more. They have the Akali pick right for their mid lane. I believe it should be for Icon. So another assassin treat for the eyes. WE once more. They're going for their tried and true. I shouldn't say tried and true. I should say tried.
Just do it. Oh,
just tried. The hyper
true.
carry strategy on WE's side. This time around, they do have a lot of early game options, and we're seeing the Aatrox jungle actually come out from beishang, their sub.
Yeah. Which is quite interesting, but especially mentioned the other day, in the LPL we don't often see this Aatrox jungle. It's more of an LCK style pick, but this is going to make things very interesting itself because we have Mystic back on that Vayne. Now Mystic is the most played Vayne in the LPL so far, but his win rate doesn't really support it. So you're hoping that this game number 2, the change in jungle, will change the style and Mystic can fix up that 1-2 record on the Vayne. OMG taking on WE, game 2, here we go.
The taunt's already going down across both teams. beishang on the Aatrox. This is a pick that if you're expecting early team fights and a lot of skirmishes where people are trying to rush into each other, then he can be a fairly good jungler. However, in terms of the ganking phases, not really the best one to look for. Very inconsistent in that department.
I'm sick of the crowd chanting BLG than RNG, alright? Know your stadium, know your audience. That is an aftershock on beishang. Okay. Alright, Clement. You feel free to walk me through this if I sound like a fool right now, but you know, I have seen very different runes on the Aatrox jungle.
Yeah, we've seen the electrocute for just the early damage. I think the idea beishang has is just to keep himself as a frontliner, as a person who really stirs up the pot in the front line, a rabble-rouser in that sense, and just make sure all the attention is away from Mystic.
Well, Best 16 is on his Olaf again, so although he can be a frontline, Best 16, excuse me, is doing exactly what he did in the other game. beishang gets spotted, or rather he is spotted, but Best 16 was as well. So multiple vision source, beishang invading, might see vertical jungling, or again that level 2 to level 3 gank mid. Best 16 got a challenge now, and Raptors are saved for what it's worth.
Yeah, it does have the level lead as well, so beishang really can't stay in the same area. Olaf, with that early clearing speed, is able to get to his own side of the jungle, defend it well. Both sides should equalize out on the farm count, however. Yes, both will have the same exact camps, so it's still fine for either side. Not really one side getting ahead to a lead.
Oh, red buff's going to be picked up as well. So, at this point, Scuttlecrab was secured there by WE, giving an advantage to the bottom side, but because it is so hardly pushed in, Five might have a chance to get that headbutt polarizer combo. Mystic and missing. It's going to be a hard lane to keep this consistent, especially with Best 16's Olaf, which did have a powerhouse of a game 1.
We should really cue the audience on how much Mystic loves the Vayne. He's even played the Vayne top lane already, and telling his Korean top laner to then swap over into the AD role.
And his top laner did not do so great in the AD role.
Oh, he didn't do well in the top lane role either, so I would call it even. But WE, they are banking on something that can hyper carry for their team, and a lot of times the Vayne actually has better individual solo potential on other AD carries. So if you're talking about the Sivir matchup, she typically does much better into that one as well. And as we're seeing in the Ezreal matchup, because you have that mobility over the Kai'Sa, you can dodge away a lot of the skill shots. And Mystic is a fairly good Vayne player. The only question is that if you're playing in a top lane, if you're having to go late, it doesn't fit the meta.
Especially if the team's not going to ramp up. Xiye right now has to be careful. Best 16 comes in with the Predator ganks, but not too sure what he was expecting there. Might have seen the Glacial Path a little bit earlier. He just roots him down and walks away.
Yeah, just making sure to equalize the wave once more. And again, we're seeing Xiye just blind pick the Lissandra. She has been going for a lot of fairly defensive picks. We've known him to play things like the Zoe, like the Kassadin, or the Rise. He has been someone who can play more than a facilitator and be one of those late game carries as well, but this split seems to be a rather slow start for him.
Well, how slow is it going to go? Looking at the bottom lane once again, Chelly just gets a bit of damage off. Now the Ezreal and Alistar able to push back in. But this massive wave underneath turret is going to be hard for Mystic to pick up. This is where the discrepancy is going to start coming in. Chelly trying to force him away. We'll see how much is actually picked up by Mystic. Teleport using the mid lane.
Just throw some stats out there, but Mystic's DPM on the Vayne has been sub 400, so extremely low, never having a good developmental phase. We might see the first 2v2 come out.
Beishang over the wall, he's a level down at best 16. Will be knocked up anyway. Aftershock might come in handy. Glacial Path fit, force the flash. Happy Cat out, thumbs up as a response. Now challenging over these Raptors, Icon just doesn't want to be part of it. He's going to let them go.
Really good play coming in here. Oh, wait a minute. Does he?
Yeah, best 16 got that. Minded it down. Remember, had a level up on Beishang, so invading with a level down. That's interesting.
That was a good play coming out from WE overall. They knew that Akali didn't back, so they did have an item lead onto Xiye. They should be able to take the fight. They do get an extra flash out of it. You know, best 16, he shows some style points, but overall in terms of substance, it is still in favor of WE, and they're going to use that tempo.
Yeah, now to the bottom lane. Xiye is level 6, just locks down Ezreal straight away. Chelly condemned into the wall. There's no hope. Vayne will find it. Mystic with one, Xiye with the other, and WE 2 quick kills to open up the game.
They could
Five
get a
here
third.
as well. This is not good. Alistar drops. Mystic picks up 2. Make that 3 and 1 back for OMG.
Really good tower juggling. They keep themselves alive for so long. Misty tanking as long as he possibly could, and they take down 3 targets into the bot side, 2 kills onto Vayne. That's the most important part about it.
And that's 1,500 kills for Mystic, I believe.
Woo! Making history right there. There's still, I think that we have a player at the most kills, maybe around 2,000 mark or something.
Okay.
I need to check out the Uzi kills after the game. But let's watch this again. Remember, they just chased out a flash out of best 16. Akali's backing. They know that information. Straight 4-man play. Beautiful CC chain. Chelly has absolutely no hope. Missing tanks for as long as possible. Takes the ignite and then hops out. And they just clean up 3 kills right here. This is a massive swing in terms of game tempo. If the Vayne can get far enough ahead, she actually starts to become this split-pushing threat against other lanes as well. The matchup that we saw Mystic play the Vayne into in the top side was actually the Xiyang as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So we could see that in future matchups.
Ooh, we might, especially since Xiyang is that Xiyang onto post now. They get the slowdown with the undertow. Underneath turret will not save him. He does pop the Fear Beyond Death, but Beishang can't get in. Remember, level 5 to best 16's level 16. Or 6, rather. It's the number that got me, yeah.
16.
Level 16 to level 5. OP in the jungle. That is the 2nd kill now for best 16, however. So closer towards that Cinderhulk in the jungle.
The question really is, can Xiye, with his early lead, start to impact the map in a fashion where Icon really can't follow? I think that's the biggest question. He already has control of the lane pretty much. The kills and assist goals are helping him out quite drastically. He's shoving this wave whenever he wants to. And I just want to see WE actually commit to an early game, aggressive game plan where they can consistently just go bot, take their jungler there with them, and try to clamp down on the Ezreal.
They're definitely doing that now. Xie's walking through, and these chickens, you know, hotter than a KFC bucket right now, honestly. Beishang getting him for a 2nd time. Icon will spot out Xiye as he makes his mission to roam bottom. And Icon right now, he's been pretty stable in lane, but he hasn't been leaving it. Xiye has been moving a lot more, been a lot more active in the map. Hence why Icon is actually ahead by about 10, maybe 15 CS after this.
Just not a lot. There's still a potential 4v2 coming down.
True Shot Barrage right into the door. Knock, knock. Who is it? Well, it's definitely not the Meat Man because he's dead. Mystic gets his 3rd one. The final hour has been proc. Xiye flashes forward. The tomb is set. And Xiye wants to lock up Chelly again. number 2 for this mid laner, and WE might get first turret as well.
I love what WE are doing. It takes them a lot of courage and a lot of time to figure out early game plays, but they are on track for there. And Mystic had tremendous plays right there. He uses the final hour, dodges out on the Alistar headbutt to continue to do damage, and right out of the tumble, he gets a condemn onto the tower. We can watch all of that again, but Mystic with his mechanics are absolutely amazing. Watch this. The Alistar tries to go in. There is a tumble away from that,
wow.
and then he gets the condemn. That's absolutely beautiful play. Allows a chase down coming in from Xiye.
The perfect condemn. That was incredible there from Mystic, and although the pick hasn't been too favorable for him so far, it's still one he's very comfortable with. 3-0 and 2 now in this vein, and it's good to see it's finally paying off. WE need a stronger win condition, and although you've got Xiye, you've got Post, who's the rookie coming up, you got Mystic and Missing, and this bottom lane seems to be the highlight each and every time for WE.
Yeah, WE, what we've seen from them is that their lanes are actually fine, but a lot of times their jungler does lag behind the play a lot. This time around, Xiye is taking them on a buddy-buddy system, get that roaming hit squad online as soon as possible, and they're making action happen. Mystic still has a positive number in his GD, but
Xiye just walked blind into the brush. He thought it was safe. Can he get out? No. Perfect execution from Icon. This is 9.2, so Akali's safe under the turret in the smoke screen. Beishang wants a response, but cannot find any. OMG, they're behind 2,000 gold now, but they had their mid laner with a kill.
How did they even know Lissandra was going to poke her head over the corner? That was quite impressive of a stop right there. They just felt like, you know, someone's going to poke their head here. Let's just wait here as a 3-man. And it was a really good play on 5. They knew that they couldn't defend their bot lane tower, so just might as well leave it and try to find an equalizing play.
It's almost dead anyway. WE know that OMG coming down to the bottom side. Icon will not pressure up to look for more turret plating, as they don't know where Beishang is just yet. Sitting in the river. And he'll clear out some of that vision as well. Scuttle Crab for contention. They're 16. That level gap has been quelled as Beishang has just gone back to farming and is actually 10 CS up.
Aatrox still with the amount of AoE he has. Great farmer in the jungle. The question is, what can OMG really get going right now? WE pretty much have full control of the bot side. Mid lane winning, bot side winning.
Well, is mid lane really winning though, Clement? 20 CS behind. Xiye has been roaming, but Icon's still going to be a very real threat. I guarantee you that next back is a Hextech Gunblade. Ludendecker will be picked up first, but 9.2 Akali is a very real threat that WE have not considered. Well, rather, they haven't dealt with just yet.
Like you were talking about, Xiye still able to pick up on the
that's a flash forward from Missing. Chelly waiting for the arcane chip, but he will not find it. Third shot's the charm from Mystic. Bottom lane is pushing up. That's the inner turret that they're pushing. Mystic's there alone. You may have gotten Rift Herald, but WE still in full control.
That was a little too easy. I think this game is going to be a cat and mouse between Icon and Mystic. Who can find who, but Xiye is going to find Icon first.
Beishang is low, he's popped the world ender. Perfect execution, going to come back in. Icon ready to ult, flashes over the wall. Perfect timing onto the Aatrox. Xiyang comes back in with the Glacial Path, but flash forward. Ragnarok's there, blocked away by the door as the True Shot Barrage, but Xiye only getting the trade off to 5. A 2-for-1 special for OMG, and that special's looking good as they approach mid again.
Yeah, Mystic is still in the bot side, so this should at the very least beat the mid lane tower. Icon with a monster double man stun up. It was W that actually initiated the contact. They thought they had the upper hand in river, but after that trade back from Icon, things just switched in an instant.
Oh, this smoke screen, you're so glad it got nerfed, but Icon steps right back into it. Missing doesn't die, but this turret will. Rift Herald will not get another charge. Turret actually might be saved here as well. Minions, let's win it. Never mind, turret's on like 5 HP.
Super low. A small breeze is going to knock that tower over. We're going to see the Observer click on it.
He's trying to click on it. 45. Thank you, Observer. Let's hide that mouse. Good, good, good. You know, I can't stand seeing him out. Like, you know, good observing experience. Make it look like a film. Make it look smooth.
Sometimes he has to use the mouse.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So, you know, sometimes we've got to use it. Look, Clement.
Oh, no, my bad.
Walk me this again.
All right, so OMG actually starts to fight themselves. W goes back into the situation thinking that the Braum is going to arrive faster to the fight. He does get in there, but he's half health himself. It looks like to be honest, it looks like a communication mistake from WE here, and OMG just continue with the play that they started. Really good find onto xiye to equalize some of it.
Both those kills went to the Ragnarok, Olaf, as well as the Akali that now has a Hextech Gunblade. So Icon definitely online, 30 CS ahead of his lane opponent, but look at Bot. Like, that's insane. 40 CS, 4 kills over to Mystic. He will pretty much be an item over Chelly for a long time this game. Rageblade almost picked up as well. And it's pretty much going to be Vayne versus Akali in these fights, and I cannot wait.
I want that big 5v5. Mystic has been on split push duty the entire game so far. He wants to drag the game out even further and maybe use the mobility from the mid lane to kind of collapse on these sides. Is Icon going to fall for it?
I mean, can he find himself in this fight is a real question. Icon in first. Will not tag beishang, but around the Baron Pit they wait. Mystic's here, level 9. So we'll have... are we maxing Silver Bolts? I feel like we are. Or are we going Tumble first? That's the real question. No, we got Silver Bolts. Okay. Don't see the Infinity Edge first. Vayne, you remember that? A couple of patches, Clement.
Yeah, if you're going for the attack speed build, Silver Bolts is still pretty much considered the go-to route.
Yep.
You just max your attack speed, get the Gwynsu's Rageblade as well for it.
Feels like, at the moment, if Mystic gets free reign in some of those fights, we're definitely going to be hearing about it. Especially even xiye, even though he's, you know, bit of CS down on that mid lane, still very impactful pick here. Lysandra with that one Luden's Echo is going to be fine. Of course, if you build 2 Luden's Echo, you're trolling. But what I'm saying here is that first item. The second one is now picked up for Mystic. First item across the board, in fact. And, okay, alright, thank you. So,
the thing about W's composition is I feel like they need to be the ones on the front end, so they need to take the first move. There's so many tools on OMG that are very unfriendly or very hostile to Mystic's position as a short-range AD carry. You're thinking about Alistar, Olaf, able to chase down on him. So what I want to see W when they are forcing one of these fights is basically use xiye as a flanking opportunity, have everyone move in there, and make sure Mystic really isn't the first one into the fight. They do need to get a lot of skills out of the enemy team.
They might have found Icon though, however, and you spoke about Mystic needing to go in. Well, Icon needs to go in as well. WE playing close to the chest, Icon's back in. Best 16 just looking for a slow and that pick. Now, before we saw gold, Clement, about 3,000, or almost 4, I believe. No, let's say 3, for Mystic over Chelly.
3,000 gold.
At 16 minutes.
Over someone who has Kleptomancy.
Yes. Feels like Vayne's running Klepto and Pressy attack at the same time. Wouldn't that just be OP? Another dragon going to be picked up here as well. But that gold, although not accounted for because of the dragon, will still continue to grow. Another ocean to come.
I think W has finally clicked. They finally figured out that, you know, they put 2 and 2 together. Mystic is actually still having a good laning phases overall.
Mystic's still here.
And he's still playing a hyper carry, so why not pile in all of our resources into the bot side and just make sure he's ahead the entirety of the game? It's a simple solution. It sounds really easy, but it did take a while to figure out.
He's the father of this team, the father of his child, and it makes perfect sense that you would give this man more responsibility.
He's a family man.
WE playing around that family man. Looking to get the groceries, clean the diapers, go further. I don't know what...
Do most of the damage, be the split pusher, also be the early game focus as well. You got it, Mystic.
You got it. You know what? It's a 12-hour day for you, but you'll get through it. And Mystic continues to grow. 40 CS is still the gap between these two 80 carries. You look at the equivalent gap in the mid lane, it's about the same, really. Morellonomicon, the next go-to for Icon, which he's getting close to picking up. There's actually a bounty on both the jungle and the mid laner. So you have your respective carries of both teams. xiye still going to be a big carry as well. One team fights all it's going to take for him to regain his bounty this game.
Kind of sad to see the Ocean Drake here. I want it to be an Infernal so we can go into the team fight phases early enough. Mystic already sitting on 2 items. He should be happy into 5v5.
Clement, you asked for a team fight. It's building up. Again, I don't think an Infernal's going to change that at this point. Both teams want to get this mid-game skirmish under control, especially with Baron coming up in 1 minute 10. It's a very real situation to see it rushed with this 2-item Vayne, and maybe less so with OMG's composition at this point.
OMG still trying to split the lanes out. I really like what they did with the top side. There was a moment where it was Mystic versus Missing against Chelly and 5, but Best 16 did cover the lane quite well, so even with the swap, they weren't able to take much damage onto the top tower. It really did kind of slow the grind down for WE on that 3k advantage, and there is going to be a point where the Akali is just going to be more useful than Xiye in one of these side lanes. So OMG, if they're allowed to drag the game on, I feel like it becomes more of a dangerous game for the Vayne later on. And they're going to find fewer and fewer 5v5s where I think their comp really shines in.
Okay. That's definitely fair to say considering how this early game and going into the mid game feels for WE. Remember, we haven't really seen them in their stride. It's fair to say, again, that against EDG, we saw the best how WE could be. It wasn't EDG playing down more so that WE were playing up. And we almost saw that in game 1. It was a very competitive game. Even in game 2 here, still very close considering a 3k gold lead towards them. Still holding on towards that as Baron now comes up and Vision just being secured and tested around that area.
Yep, WE definitely know their win conditions. They're looking for the big 5v5 team fights, making sure to go up to the top side of the map and not allow Icon to continue to push this tower down. If that becomes a long lane, it becomes much more of a headache for WE. Icon is going to have a lot of time to really draw pressure onto himself.
Well, they're willing to sacrifice that Clement just to get the mid lane turret. Feels like a worth here. Minion wave getting pushed out. The fight almost starts out from Xiyang. Unstoppable Onslaught is down. Big engage tool for OMG used, but for the flash.
Yeah, good True Shot Barrage coming in from Chelly. The Unbreakable actually doesn't save most of the damage. It still hits onto the back line. And Mystic took a couple axes to the face. So we do see W actually back to full health. Yeah. Just with the red buff and the ocean.
That's right, and the flash wasn't using that last engage, excuse me. Was just a little hop out, maybe flashing before my eyes in that scenario. But the turret will drop down in the end. WE open up the map just that little bit more. Going to back now, and the second item's going to come through. I assume at this point as well that Mystic's just going to be looking towards a large component of his third. Maybe a BF sword going to come out here, or X Drinker and a Zeal. That's a feels good back.
Yeah, I really need the MR to come out because Icon's having a massive game as well. I do like the idea of just having that extra shield and the life sustain to keep yourself in the game a little bit longer. He is holding onto a 1,000 gold bounty, so everything OMG has is going to be going straight to the dome.
Going to secure up a lot of that gold disparity as well, so especially with that Baron sitting down, Ocean might be a bit more realistic for a contest at the moment. A double Ocean for WE would be very impactful in this mid game.
Oh, look at the pings that OMG is throwing down. They know that Pose is on the top side, and they already have Xiyang converging with the team, so potential to make a 5v4 play, but they're actually just going to give up on Ocean.
Yeah, they're going to Baron, and no. Okay, no one set up for Baron. Everyone calm down. It will be a double Ocean over to WE, willing to give that up. OMG maybe playing with fire here. Post is walking down. I believe he used Ghost, and now picked up Teleport again, or is just a fast, speedy boy.
Icon, remember, does not have teleport, so he's very far away from his team. OMG, they're not going to be assisted in this defense at all.
Just Chelly and 5 in the mid lane. They'll spot out by a ward. True Shot Barrage goes through, but only to Missing. Then Headbutt Pulverize onto Missing again. He takes a lot of damage. Predator here. Best 16 flashes forward, undertow. The Drain locks on 2. This is the fight for OMG, but into the backside. The Glacial Fissures there. Look at Icon with the flank. Hits 4 with the lockdown. Fear beyond death for Post, who turns it around for WE. Xiye's on the backside doing so much hurt, and Xiyang in the zombie form can't find a thing. WE with the cleanup in-house, and now they're back to Baron.
4 straight kills going over to WE, and it looked really dicey to begin with, Missing falling down low, but they're able to isolate the team fight. Icon was pretty much fighting a 1v4 in the back of it, where the front line of OMG, they took a couple shots from Mystic, and they were like, I can't actually chase up on this.
This Vayne being so far ahead is just putting a hole in the side of OMG. WE secure the Baron, 6,500 gold ahead, and look at the bounties that have just come up.
I really don't think OMG is going to it's going to be a miracle if OMG can really claw themselves back into the game. You can see the start of the fight. Missing actually takes so much damage. True Shot Barrage landing earlier as well as the Scion coming in. You can see Mystic on the side. Icon's has his eyes onto him, but can't find the target. He does land the stun. Tumble is able to keep him safe. The second part of the execute scrapes by him, but not enough to take him down.
Yeah, the fear beyond death as well, forcing the exit from the Shroud and onto Mystic. So really a bit of clockwork motion there for WE, all the parts coming together. And again, it's Posu. Maybe he's gone by silently because of how Mystic, because of how Xiye have been focusing around this bottom side and really snowballing in this game. But Post, 2-1-0, consistent performance from this rookie again.
No, OMG, they have to rely on the flank. Vayne is just too fed at this point to really go head-to-head.
Xiye, they will get a two-man route down. Xiye is locked here, takes no damage. 5 does not want to be here. Unbreakable Will does nothing. True Shot Raj does nothing. Best 16 dodges away from the fear beyond death, but Post just does too much. And OMG are left with 4 to defend this bottom lane turret.
8k gold advantage for WE. They don't have any way to allow Icon into the back line. They have to give this up.
They want the last fight. They want to take us to another game 3. Mystic is free-firing again. The final hour of OMG. Up for the inhibitor. It's Mystic again. Vayne looks so successful with the lead. Chelly gets popped. A triple kill. Make that no denied for the Quadra. WE clean it up again, and this time it's for the win. They take the first Nexus turret, they'll take the second. It's another fire sale where all must go. And WE in front of their home crowd take us to a game 3 with Mystic's Vayne looking at the hyper carry.
WE blowing OMG's bot lane sky high. They finally have the formula. The win conditions align for them. Put everyone on something that can create early action, bring all of the side lane, all the solo lane pieces towards the bot side, and just make sure Pop-Up Mystic is fed for the late game. There's no patience about it, and there's no waiting around. It's all about throwing the resources where they need it the most.
And OMG have got to be hitting themselves at that one as well, Clement. Icon was such a big damage threat. Icon was such a big backline threat as well. But everything came together for WE in such an important game. Mystic was massive. Look at that.
16.8 damage. Doing more damage than the entire top side of the map coming in from OMG. And this is a game strategy that's proven to be very, very successful. I really question what OMG can do here, because I think, number one, they need to disrupt the early lane flow coming in from WE. We have to remember, Icon did have his pick of the litter in terms of the counter picks.
That he did.
He picked something that was pretty slow in lane, had a lot of late game potential, but WE, they focused on just getting strong lanes across into solos and just making sure that they could bring that all that excessive roaming, all that excessive power into the bot side.
And I wish we knew where these two teams sat, Clement, because OMG and WE, very historical organizations. OMG 2012, WE 2011. They were established in League of Legends. One of them, I think it was OMG or WE, came from like Warcraft 3. And I mean, those were the days. Like Battle.net, those are the days. But this is now kind of an evaluation of where they're going to sit. So far, we've seen the best of both worlds for both OMG and WE. Game 3 will hopefully tell us a bit more. But the drafts still look like they have a lot of thought and a lot of planning behind them. Execution, a very different story.
Yeah, I did not expect the Evolve to come out from WE. I thought OMG was a little bit further ahead. Both of these teams sitting at one match win apiece right now. So it's going to be the race to 2, and that's going to bring them into the mid-tier teams of the LPL.
Especially when the difference between the newer organizations we saw before, now it's the rich history organizations. Now it's the more experienced, especially with the players. We'll find out who reinvents their legacy in another Game 3 in the LPL right after this.